Throughout the ages, the harsh, snow-swept forests and plains of Skyrim have claimed many, many lives. Surviving this inhospitable and unforgiving climate is difficult enough without the countless wars which have been fought between the races that have resided here. But how many of those countless dead still roam Skyrim? How many wars are reenacted over and over in the darkest depths of Skyrim's wilderness? How many lost souls still tread the deep snow, looking for justice or revenge? I am Galvus, a researcher from the Imperial City in Cyrodiil. I have come to Skyrim with my scribe, Alfsius, to investigate the reportedly haunted regions of this bland, cold, and unforgiving province. As we have travelled this land, we have listened to many tales of ghostly sightings of spirits, apparitions, the undead walking, and even werewolves, humans that can transform themselves into a wolf at will. But there is one tale we hear repeated over and over everywhere we go. Countless hunters and travellers have reported an encounter with a blood-chilling apparition of a headless warrior seated on his horse, searching endlessly for something, always in the darkest hours of the night, out in the deepest, loneliest parts of Skyrim's wilderness. Myth, legend, or fact? What exactly is the Headless Horseman? Does he really exist? Or is he merely a product of fevered imagination and too much ale? We want to know for ourselves, and so have set out on a hunt to find this most elusive Skyrim legend ourselves, the Headless Horseman. To get an idea of where to begin our search, we started by talking to those who claimed to have seen the Headless Horseman.
I was out hunting, in the woods near Morthal. Night came early, so I set up camp. After my meal and a few ales, I was just sitting there in front of the fire, warming my hands, when suddenly I felt cold again. The kind of cold that freezes your very bones. I looked up, and that's when I saw him, just at the edge of the clearing. You could see right through him to the trees behind. And his head, he had no head. It was gone. He pointed at me with one ghostly finger and said, "Such an abrupt end to our game." I don't know what he meant with that. An abrupt end to our game? What game?
Wait. How could he have spoken to you? He doesn't have a head, much less a mouth.
I tell you, he spoke in a whispering voice that turned my blood cold.
Maybe he talks out of his ass, kind of like you're doing right now.
You can mock me all you want. I know what I saw, and I ain't never gonna forget that voice, as cold as death itself. There he was, pointing at me. Well, I wasn't gonna hang around to see what he did next. I turned and ran all the way to Morthal with the sound of hoofs pounding right behind me the whole way. I didn't stop. I didn't look back once until I was in the Moorside Inn. I'm telling you, I ain't never going hunting alone again, ever.
Whatever Brenvan saw had certainly scared the old Nord. It would be easy to dismiss his story as the result of too much ale or a fevered imagination, except that his account is just one of many similar accounts told by people. Many hunters and trappers have reported an encounter with the Headless Horseman in the same area, and if anything is clear, it's that if we are going to find the truth, we are going to have to head out into the deep wilderness of Skyrim ourselves. It was early in the morning when we set out looking for the same campsite that Brenvan had his encounter. It was a good full day's journey from Whiterun through cold and unforgiving terrain, but we set out following the directions that Brenvan had given us.
Alfsius, stop gabbing with the locals and hurry up. We have a long way to go yet.
After a difficult journey through the wilderness, we found the location where the hunter had an encounter with the Headless Horseman. It was clearly a spot used frequently by hunters as a fire pit remained inside of a camp. Alfsius, you set up camp and make us dinner. I want skeever tail with extra salt tonight. I am going to explore our surroundings.
Set up camp, make dinner, wash my clothes, do this, do that. I do everything.
As we set up camp, it was time also to set a trap to hopefully lure the ghost to us. If the Headless Horseman was actually searching for his missing head, as many people thought, then he would surely search through this pile of skulls in case one was his own. Night closed and we were quickly surrounded by darkness. After a quick dinner of boiled skeever tails, we settled down to watch. Fatigued by our journey, we decided to keep watch in shifts, listening carefully for any sign that could indicate the presence of our headless friend.
Galvus, fetch me an ale, then go wash my spare clothes.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Oh, and make the dinner too. And I want extra spice on my skeever meat. Make sure you actually do it right this time.
Oh, of course, sir. Yes, sir. You with it too?
Yes, it woke me up. That was definitely the sound of a horse galloping down this road. But there's nothing here.
We searched the area, but there was nothing to be found. Whoever or whatever had been there was long gone. Had it been a real horse and rider, we would both have seen it coming down the road. Instead, we had both heard the clear sound of galloping hooves coming towards us down the road, yet had seen nothing to physically account for the sound. Things were looking very promising as we returned to our camp to continue our watch. Morning came, bringing a surprise with it. The pile of skulls, untouched the night before, were now scattered around as though someone or something had been searching for something.
It could have been a bear.
Of course not. Think, Alfsius. If it were a bear, there would be tracks.
Except that the ground here is hard and dry, so tracks are unlikely.
Leave the thinking to me. I'm the qualified researcher. You are just my scribe. There are no tracks because this was done by a ghost. Any fool can see that. Look at the way the skulls are symmetrically scattered. Whoever did this obviously knelt down here in front of the pile and sifted through the skulls very methodically. This proves it. The Headless Horseman is looking for his own head.
Calmus would have never accepted that as proof of a ghost.
We spent the rest of the day catching up on sleep in preparation for the night ahead. As the darkness fell, we once again sat down to keep watch. Our hopes were high as we anticipated at least a repeat of last night's activities. We were not disappointed. In the darkest hours before dawn, we heard a familiar sound. Alfsius, it's happening again. Go quickly. I want you to stand in the middle of the road this time. Hurry before we lose this chance.
What?
Don't argue. Go, now. Stay there. I will watch from a safe distance.
It's coming?
Just stay. Try to get him to stop. Stay there. Alfsius, you coward! Come back! now I will have to get another scribe.
And who's going to pack up the camp and make breakfast? Good, you're back. What happened? Did you get the chance to communicate with the ghost?
He chased me down the road for at least a league. I only just got away by jumping off the road into some bushes, and thank the gods he kept riding onwards.
Well, now you're back, you can make breakfast. Thanks to you, we're late. We should have packed up and left at dawn. Our search for the Headless Horseman had come to an end, and it was time to move on to the next haunted location. Our 2 days here had been well worth it. While we had no actual proof of the existence of the Headless Horseman to take away and present to the world, we had both experienced first-hand encounters with the apparition. We had seen for ourselves that the legend actually does exist. As for what the Headless Horseman actually wants, and what exactly he is searching for in his nightly travels, that remains a mystery for now.